Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the St. Mark's Kids Chat. Today in Sunday school, you guys are going to be learning about obedience. What's obedience mean?
That you obey, then you do something right.
Yeah, that you do what you're told, right? Exactly. If someone in authority tells you to do something, you do it. So Jonah in the big fish is actually the story that we're going to be learning about today. And Jonah was a prophet, which means he was a person who was chosen by God to deliver a message. And Jonah was supposed to go deliver a message to a city called Nineveh.
That's hard to say.
It is kind of hard to say. Nineveh was was a city that was really big, and it had a whole bunch of evil, scary people in it. So let me ask you, would you guys want to go somewhere where there's evil, scary people?
Absolutely not.
Probably not. Well, Jonah kind of felt the same way. So guess what he did? He got on a ship and he went in the opposite direction. He didn't go to Nineveh like God asked him to go and deliver a message. So guess what, though? God sent a big storm to kind of rock that ship around a little bit. And the sailors went to Jonah and said, "What's going on?" And Jonah says, "It's because of me. Throw me overboard." And so they did. They threw him overboard, but guess what? Guess what?
A giant fish saved him.
A giant fish saved him, exactly. So it actually scooped him up in his mouth, and it was able to keep him safe for about a few days, so that way he didn't drown. So, but guess what happened? After a few days, he was inside of that fish. Have you ever been in timeout before? Maybe. So that's kind of what happened. Like, you know, when you're in timeout, do you have time to think about what you did wrong? Yeah, exactly. So
a lot of time.
he had time to think about, maybe I should have gone to Nineveh like God asked me to do. So guess what happened? Sawyer, show everybody kind of what happened. The fish spit him out. You guys will make these in Sunday school today. So yes, the fish spit him out onto dry land, and guess where he went? Where did he go? Nineveh. He went to Nineveh, exactly. So he went there to deliver the message. He said to these people, he says, "You have to turn away from your evil ways. Otherwise, you are going to be overthrown in 40 days. And this place is not going to look good." So, but you know what? Guess what?
What?
The Ninevites obeyed. They turned away from their evil ways. They did something called fasting, which means that they were not eating, and they put themselves in these sackcloths and all these things, which is kind of strange, but that was their way of showing obedience to God at that time.
Obedience!
And turning away from their evil ways. So God spared Jonah, by giving him the fish, right? And because Jonah obeyed, that meant that the Ninevites were able to obey. So it just shows that following God is always the right choice. So we're going to do a little demonstration really quick about following God. So why don't you guys come on over here and just follow and making good choices. So why don't you just stand right there. Okay, so I have a question for you. So this is a little blender. Have you guys ever, actually just tell me some things that maybe you wouldn't normally obey or do. Like, what are things that you don't like to do or that you procrastinate doing? What do you think?
Chores.
Chores. Okay. So let's think about that. I'm going to pretend that this little strawberry is, doing chores, right? Normally, if you would take a little bite of it, it'd be pretty good, right? Okay, doing chores. But say you're like, okay, I don't really want to do the chore. I'm just going to put it in here, right? So all these strawberries are going to represent our chores that we're deciding that we don't really want to do right now, okay? So tell me another thing that you don't like to do. Or that you don't want to do right away or something like that.
Homework.
Homework that we don't want to do right away. So we're going to think that this salami right here is going to represent homework, okay? So we're going to stick that in our blender right here.
That's going to be one.
So start thinking of some other things. What are some other things that you kind of like decide not to do?
Usually I don't really like obeying.
You don't like obeying, like if I ask you to do something. So we'll pretend that just like if I ask you to do anything, that's going to be this string cheese right here. Okay? Yeah, we'll just put this in here. You said, "Oh, I don't really want to do that right now." Whatever it is. Maybe it means to go and turn off the TV or something like that. So what else, Max? What else can you think of?
I don't like when my mama turns off the TV.
When I turn off the TV? Yeah? Or if I, what else?
Like, if you tell me to do like go outside and scoop poop.
Oh, scooping poop. That is the worst. So we'll pretend that these tomatoes right here are, I'm going to cut this one in half, are scooping poop, because that's not so fun, right? Exactly. So what else? Can you think of anything else? What do you think?
Like,
Hard to think of it. There's lots of different things, right? What about doing the dishes? We'll pretend that this sandwich is doing the dishes, okay? And then what else? Like, trying to think of what else. What else can you think of that maybe you don't want to do, right?
go on walks with Chancellor, but
going on walks with the dog, we will pretend that this squash right here is going on walks with the dogs. So normally these individual things wouldn't be so bad if you were to kind of eat them on your own, right? And if you were to do it right away. But you know what? God says you have to do those things anyway, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close up our little blender right here, okay? And I'm going to turn it on, and we're going to blend this up. All right, I'm also going to add a little bit of liquid, okay? A little bit of liquid. We'll just put in a little bit of sparkling water, okay? And blend it up. Okay.
that was loud.
That was kind of loud. So, I am going to pour this into a little cup right here. So now, Sawyer, come take a sip of this and taste it. What do you think of it? What do you think? It's got a whole bunch of different things in it. Does it taste interesting? Oh, it doesn't taste very good, does it? Ew. It does not taste good. And my kids ran away because it was pretty gross. But it just goes to show, come on back, guys, come on back. So it doesn't taste good, but you know what? It would have been easier to eat those things individually, right? Individually, when someone asked you to do something, right? But when it all kind of adds up, it's harder to eat it when it's combined like that, right? Right? It's really hard. So it just goes to show that it's really good to obey right away and eat those individual things by themselves, just like doing the chores or doing whatever things that you've been asked to do those things right away. Otherwise, it makes it kind of a little bit harder later, right? So, and you're gonna have to do it anyways, just like you had to drink it anyways, so it's better to just obey right away. So I want you guys to be thinking about this week of how you can be obeying your parents, obeying the people around you, and reminding ourselves that it's good to be listening to God and what He's asking us to do. So following God is always the right choice. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.